being called development workers are the only category of workers that are still paid today from the development vote. Because in development, you have something called human development or human capital development, and that includes paying some category of workers. It also includes the scholarships and bursaries under DATAS. That's also paid out of the development vote. So I'm not counting those. Because when I go to some divisions like agriculture spends about $27 to $28 million every single year for development workers. But Agri will receive from the central government about $21 million for development. So what Agri paying their development workers more than what we gain from Trinidad for development projects in Agri. Yet Agri had to find the money to fix fishing depot like the one down Coteaux, to build ones like the one in Palativere, to put lockers in Charlottesville, to be able to fix Stanley Park and all fishing depots, fix up the farms. So they're already spending more than they're getting on development in order to pay the workers, and they have to find more to do the development work. Works is another one. In works spend on average every year about $41.5 million just to pay development workers. And at one time, works used to get 60-something million for development. They're now getting like 30-something million for development. So the money gone down. And when we tell you we have to send David Thomas and Joel Sampson to Trinidad to fight for us to get more resources, you must appreciate that it goes down to the simplest thing as being able to get your road fixed. Because that is where the money coming from to fix your road. I want all to listen to me tonight. Meetings are not just to wave flags and dance up and have a good time. It is to be educated on what the facts are. And so when we need to build over or to fix the facility down Culloden Bay, and the money ain't coming fast enough, and the fishermen vex, the reality is Agri have a decision to make whether they go not pay the development workers and buy materials or hire a contractor and do the work, or pay the development workers and hope to God some other division could give up some money so that they could actually fix your fishing depot. That is how we run the place. No different from your home. Because in your home, the children go in, and right now they're sharing one bedroom, so you decide, I'm going to put on a next bedroom, that is development work. The boys going through puberty, the girls going through puberty, you don't want them to share the same bedroom anymore. So you know what you're doing? You're going to supermarket, and you're changing your consumption patterns. You're eating cheaper foods. You're telling the children, look, you're telling the children, look, we have to not get Sunday lunch every Sunday because I have to build this extra room for you. Those are the decisions you make every single day in your life. And while you are making that decision, we have members of parliament going into the parliament and telling you to go back and cook on coal pot. Like they're mad. In this day and age, we're going and ride bike to town. In this day and age, we're going back with coal pot iron. Them thing is for heritage. Them thing is not for everyday living. Them thing that is for performance on stage. That is not for your everyday living. And I'm saying, if Keith Scotland and Stuart Young and Ayan and Shamfa could have the best and eat the best, you should have the best and eat the best too. And your children should enjoy that too. And don't let anybody tell you that you must suffer because the country ain't good. You cook on coal pot, don't buy no stove, go outside, cut down wood and cook. What nonsense is that? And I did not hear a single one of your MPs representing Tobago condemn that statement and say that every Trimbigonian deserves the dignity of living in a home with a roof over their heads, with shelter for their children, with food on the table, clothes on their back, shoes on their foot, and transportation to get to school and work. That's the reality. And so your THA is just operating on a macro level. What you do on a micro level every single day of your life. And so let's go to the contracts that were actually tendered. So I listed out a set of things that account for millions. Because between Agri and Works, for example, they spent about $280 million over the last 4 years from their development spend just on employment. 280 million. And Tobago, whether we want to have the conversation now or later, we have to have a conversation about whether or not this is a sustainable practice and whether or not we can keep this up and get the levels of development that we need. We cannot have it both ways. That's the reality. So I'm not counting the amount of monies we spent on employment or on data or on equipment, renting equipment, buying materials, and so on, buying concrete from our development spend. I am looking purely at contracts that were tendered, that were awarded for the last 4 years, because the notion is that most of those monies go to Trinidad contractors. And then the racist self will say it going south at the Caroni. When they were shipping away your money to people who look like you all over Trinidad, who are coming up and stealing from the THA to fund their MPs in Trinidad and fund their party in Trinidad, it was all good. It was all good. But I assure you, we ain't shipping away your money anywhere. We are inviting people here to spend their money here and invest in this place called Tobago. And I will show you. And I'm not sure if they have the chart, that we could look at the chart now. But if they do, they could put the chart on the screen, at least for the online viewers. And I want to go through division by division. And I will tell you, for contract standard, the name of the division, the total value of contracts for the period December 2021 to December 2025, the total Tobago contract values, and the total Trinidad contractors value. So you see both of them and compare for yourself. When we go to the division of food security, natural resources, sustainable development, and the environment, their total amount of contracts given out over that period 2021 to 2025 is $43 million. And of the $43 million, all 100% of that went to Tobago contractors. Come on, let me hear some noise for the division of food security. 100% of that. Not one of food security's contracts went to a Trinidadian. And that's on our development spend. Tourism had 20 million. They spent $20,586,321.77. Their total value to Tobago contractors was $10,191,186.19. Their total amount to Trinidad contractors was $10,395,135.58. So practically half and half. Let's go to education. In education spent 95.7 million. And of the 95.7 million spent by education, they spent 94 million out of that on Tobago contractors. Then community development, they spent $16 million, and all 16 million of those were spent on Tobago contractors. Infrastructure, Infrastructure spent $159.1 million. And of the $159.1 million, $48.6 million Tobago contractors. Health spent $3.565 million, $3.453 million to Tobago contractors. Settlements spent $11.5 million. The $11.5 million to Tobago contractors. In total, $227.1 million spent Tobago and Trinidad contractors or contractors with a Trinidad address, $122.4 million. So most of the money is spent on Tobago contractors. More than that, I want to debunk the myth that some $300 million was spent on Trinidad contractors. The numbers say only $122.4 million was spent on Trinidad contractors. Less than the amount spent on Tobago contractors and nowhere near the $300 million spent on Trinidad contractors. That's a lie. But let me give you some of the Trinidad contractors that they were spent on. I ain't gonna call it Tobago contractor's name. I'll come to that just now. Udicott. We have Azarius Construction. We have some utility companies like Peaks to treat with air conditioning and climate control. California Stucco. Corazal Trading. Michael Fab Limited and Scales and Weighing Equipment Services Limited. Those are the companies. But I also want to add another thing in the mixture. The bulk of the payments owed or due to Trinidad contractors come from design, build, finance modalities. Let me explain what that is. I'm going somewhere tonight. That is, we have a contractor come in with all of them millions, spend all of them millions up front, and then we take our dead time to pay them. Let me even go further by way of example. It was a design build modality used to build the road in Moriah that moved from steps to a road. The Trinidad contractor spent all his money up front. And to this very day, that road that opened more than 2 years ago, we're still owing that contractor about $12 million. And he ain't sue we yet. Come on, let me have a chat. Because he might have the capacity to spend all the millions up front and wait however long for his money. That is design, build, finance. Tell me how many Tobago contractors have that capacity. Right now, they would be in the media. They would be on Liz Williams saying that we owe them money. Let me be real. Then we have that road going through Friendship. That close to $80 million there. A contractor finding close to $80 million and spending that up front on his own without a cent from the THA. No mobilization. So that we could then take the little we have and do other projects simultaneously. How many Tobago contractors have that capacity? So when they're talking, ask them how many of them have so much money in the millions to spend up front in Tobago and sit down and wait patiently for their money to come back to them. Drop. Lamy Road, same equation. So it's not a case where we're just taking the money and giving it to Trinidad contractors. It's a case where we're putting out tenders, and tenders are put out for contractors anywhere in the country to bid, because there is an equality, a responsibility, and a fairness responsibility with OPR. I also want to add another thing to the mix, which is that secretaries do not give out contracts. I can't give out contract. Contracts could only be given out by an administrator and the procurement officers. As a matter of fact, if I need to buy water for my office, I can't even tell them who I want the water from. So you know what, as well as buy me own water, because me want nobody poison me and bring water from places I don't know about. Because they completely on their own do the process, and we are just on the back end saying, okay, that is how contracts are given out now based on OPR. And so this notion that somehow we have punished Tobago contractors while giving the largest to Trinidad contractors is a lie. The numbers do not show that to be true. But I want to add something else to the mix. When we came into office, we met a bill of over $900 million, close to $1 billion to be paid on. Over $900 million. Immediately, I commissioned an audit. The audit report said that for some of those projects, they overpriced their goods, that they were robbing the THA. From that audit, I would like to tell you that we issued pre-action protocol letters. They had until January to respond, and right now our lawyers are preparing to go to court. And I want to say to the PNM, if you find AMBD was so unfair that you have to carry people in court to get back state money, why are you saying that the THA must not do the same in Tobago? It's because you support the wickedness and the evil same way. And the way God don't sleep, the way God doesn't sleep, the same big contractor man who dung my throat, if he could have killed me, he would have killed me. I see he can't even open a quarry in Trinidad. I see he tie up in court like market crab. He can't do nothing about it down there. Because he carries same law-breaking spirit in Trinidad. He carries same spirit of entitlement in Trinidad. And God does not like ugly. That's why he had to suffer down there. He thought he was doing Tobagonian something. But God is dealing with him slowly. And we will deal with him in the courts of Trinidad and Tobago. We're not afraid of that. And then, in the midst of all of that, we are trying to employ as many of you as is possible. And I hear them knocking the 10 on, 10 off program. And I want to be real with you. If a division like Works has a vacancy for 500 employees, we have two options. Hire 500 people, and only 500 people will get an income when the month comes. Or split that and say, from 500, we could give 1,000 people a share of the pie. Now, the 10 on, 10 off program is really aimed to give more of you a share of the pie. So at least more of you will get something to go home with at the end of the month. We know it's not the best thing. We wish we could employ every Tobagonian that want to work. We wish we could get everybody a work who want to work. But the reality is that with the kind of economy that Rowley and Stuart Young gave this country and mess up this country, we have to share the pie, piece, and make sure everybody eats. So while you might want a whole loaf, we think it's better to give everybody half a loaf and everybody survive and be 60,000 strong together than to only give a few the whole loaf. PNM strategy has always been to give their own and a few of their own alone and suffer everybody else. Our strategy is to give everybody a piece of the pie, a piece of the bread. We got bread like when we got communion in Baptist and everybody breaking a piece of the bread. We will break it and share it until everybody get a piece. Because it can't be that your neighbor surviving and you struggling. We are all in this together. And I'm saying to you Tobagonians, Don't let them fool you. The figures do not lie. And the figures show that is only just over 100 million that is actually spent on Trinidad contractors, when the vast majority is spent on Tobago contractors. All the rest is spent on Tobago contractors. And that goes all the way down to the people who does cook school food, to the people who does the security, janitorial services, the Maximen, Tobago service providers. And yes, we wish the national economy was better. And that is why we're voting for Tomo and Notsi. Because they had 10 years, and the reality is the economy shrunk under PNM instead of growing. You don't have to like who was there before PNM. Me and business about who was there before PNM. But I know under PNM, the economy in which I live declined under PNM. That is a fact. Things harder under them. That is a fact. The food prices and food inflation went up under them. That is a fact. Under them, we have seen over 5,000 murders. Under them, that is a fact. Under them, you can't get US to spend anywhere. That is a fact. Under them, every time you took your credit card and buy something online, you have to pay a tax on it. That is a fact. Under them, the cost of fueling for your car, it go up once, it go up twice, it keep going up. Under PNM, that is a fact. It is a fact that under them, the fishermen have to increase the price of the fish because it costing them more to go to sea. That is a fact. So when I see Bobby jumping up with PNM, Bobby really sell out his soul to them Red Devils and not recognizing for a fact that the same people he hugging up are the same people who are likely to cripple his industry.
You go learn.
It is under them. It is under them we can't get boat for Coast Guard. Only promises. That is a fact. It is under them. It is under them that Stolly Park under pressure and can't get an export license. I know it's a funny thing. When I look to the 7th schedule, it says that any board, any ministry that have to provide licenses for mining and such investments must provide such service in Tobago. They're not providing it in Tobago. Your Stolly Park quarry, where we should be exporting aggregate to get US dollars into our system in Tobago, they refuse to give us a license to export. They refuse to give us a license. It's under them. Under them. And I'm saying, you can't love Tobago only when it's election time. You can't love we, and then when it's not election, you do everything in your power to cripple the Tobago economy and say, well, that's okay. They're going to come out of power soon. People going to hate them. But one thing I know is that the moral arc of the universe is long, and it always bends towards justice. So they could do what they want. Tobagonians, we are not blind. We understand the truth, and in this election, we will vote on the truth. And the amount of Tobagonians who couldn't see properly, Dr. Faith, they set them up by the thousands, carry them up Roxborough, cut out all the cataract from the eye, so I can see clearly now. The rain is gone. Only blue skies are available. Yes, and even some of that expenditure come out of development spend because we purchased the equipment and brought in the specialists. So the equipment belongs in Tobago and will build out our local capacity to treat with cataract. The backlog was happening underneath them. Not without regard for how they try to restrict the Tobago House of Assembly. We have patched more holes than them. They created the holes. Every Monday morning was digging up the road and we trying to patch them with haste. For the first time in perhaps close to 15 years, Works actually acquire new equipment, brand new spreader and thing. Look how Pigeon Point pave out smooth. That is THA workers with THA own equipment that we spend your development funds to buy. They weren't doing that. What they were doing is breaking down the machines, mashing up the machines, and giving the friends money on the side for equipment rental that we did not need. We stopped that from happening. This administration, despite what they did, we were able to build the first brand new sporting facility on the island in literally 20 years. What new sporting facility they built in 21 years? Dwight York was built by Sister Pam. Is central government built Dwight York? What they build? They didn't build Dwight York. And Shamfana even maintaining it properly. Is Sister Pam built Dwight York? And in 5 years, while they had 21 years, we built a whole brand new beach sport arena. And we built that in actually 40 days. 40 days it took to build. And while we built that, they were telling us, well, go Pigeon Point, do something temporary. No, we are not agreeing to you building a new thing. And I had to stand up and say, this is the Tobago House of Assembly. We in charge of sports on the island. We in charge of how we spend our money. And if you don't want to come in Black Rock, you could carry your Commonwealth Games elsewhere. But we're building it, and we built it and proved them wrong. They ain't build nothing. They ain't build nothing in 21 years. Except they build the pocket, you're right. Except they make themselves better. Build up a set of bad mind and hatred on the island and xenophobia on the island. So Tobagonians, in this election, you have to be conscious. You have to be conscious of what the facts are. It is patently untruth that we spent $300 million on Trinidad contractors. That is a lie. The figures say it's only 120 million, not even half of 300 million. And the figure shows that the vast majority of the development spend, all the rest is on Tobago. That's the reality. And what's amazing is that the same people who talking in Tobago going down Trinidad for contracts and getting contracts in Trinidad. Well, let me start again now. Because the brother and the god brother and the uncle and the friend no longer in office. He's no ex. Let me see how they're getting it now down there. And in a country called Trinidad and Tobago, when we put it out to tender, and there's another part of the argument I will ask Sister Petal to deal with at another time. When we put these things out to tender, ask yourself how many Tobago contractors has actually put in a tender. Ask them. Maybe one. Sometimes no Tobago contractor putting in a tender for design build finance. Sometimes none. And if they push me, I will start to call the names of the contractors and how much millions they were paid. Because we have been paying them by the millions. Even the same one that sued and get through with a lawsuit. You are not even aware that while that lawsuit going unbeknownst to us, he was receiving payments from the THA. He was actually getting payments from the THA in the millions while that court case was going on. So the THA never said we will not pay. We said we'll pay as funds are available. And for those that the audit picked up as being improper, we will only pay what the audit report recommends that we pay. End of story. And what amazes me is that it has some people in this space, including some in the business community, who like crookedness and who will tell you, just close your eye and pay. It doesn't matter whether there is something wrong, just pay it. Well, I don't operate by that principle. I operate by the principle that what you work for is what you should be paid. And you're right, Sister Bernie. Me and our Auditor General call my name. I don't want to be flagged for things that are improper. So we have to do the thing the right way. And I'm not even saying that the THS system is perfect right now. Because the truth is, we have some work to do to show up our accounting departments. That's why right now, we have some accountants as mentors who have retired, who were brought back to do mentorship, to prepare curriculum, to teach and prepare the accountants, because we want to ensure that they keep a good account of the state funds, every red cent, and of the public purse. You see all this fight they're fighting, it goes back to that song Nature's Plan. Because there are some people in this society who feel that their birthright is to control you and me. Their birthright is to control the economy of the country. And people like you and me will never ever get a chance. But that is why we are 60,000 strong. Coteaux, Golden Lane, the fact that I am here as Chief Sec, being able to self-actualize in Tobago is a living example that here in Tobago, we find ways to lift ourselves and lift each other up. Don't let anybody else allow you to sell your birthright down the road. Lift yourself up. It's amazing that the same people who told you stand in the fence at Tobago, while you busy standing in the fence at Tobago, they were thieving and robbing you blind.
Ready and responsible now. That's it.
And they're so confused. One day they're all in, next day they're ready and responsible. I don't even know what that means. If they're only responsible after, 10 years, you're not responsible? Yes, you're ready and responsible for bad treating all the public servants in the country. You're ready and responsible for all the murders that bloody up our streets. You're ready and responsible for destroying the economy of the country that you can't even get a US dollar. They're ready and responsible for Caribbean Airlines ignoring the people of Tobago and our plight. They're ready and responsible for you not getting water in your taps because they didn't manage WhatsApp properly and manage Tiantec properly. They're ready and responsible for ensuring that you can't get gratuities, that you, when you retire, can't get money on time. They're ready and responsible for all the hurt and trauma and damage done to this country. But I am happy that a blue wave is coming that is going to wash this red out of this land, purify this space, and ensure that we build a Tobago that is pleasant and great for every Tobagonian. That's why you have to be in this election. And young people in this area, you might be saying these numbers don't mean much to me. These figures boring. I just want to know I get work somewhere. I want to know I get ends somewhere. But let me break it down for you. When the THA you voted for sat down in the boardroom with Caribbean Airlines, and we decided we will pay our monies for there to be a direct Toronto to Tobago flight. We agree on everything. Just waiting on a contract. And them wicked people down in this cabinet refuse to allow Caribbean Airlines to execute such a contract. But every Monday morning, Caribbean Airlines hopping to a new island and they can't hop to Tobago. And then you ask yourself, why can't I get a little Ensbury hotel somewhere? Why Annosville Hotel closed down so long and can't open back up with no other business? You have to appreciate that this thing is bigger than the THA, and you have to vote out who in central government setting these policies, and vote Joel Sampson, and vote David Thomas, and vote people who will set policies for your own development. How you could claim to love us? How you could claim to love us? And I'm asking you, I sat down in a virtual meeting with Caribbean Airlines and their board. I sat in the meeting. We discussed it. We gave the commitment that the THA will pay. We prepared for it in our budget. All now we're still waiting on a contract. All now. And since that time, Caribbean Airlines hopped to all other countries. But you build a new airport to Mamagaiwi. You build a new airport. Where are the flights? Where are the flights? We sat and started having negotiations with a Trinidad company. A Trinidad company who would bring flights here. And the mistake I make was to start to talk about it too early. The first thing they jump up and say, you can't negotiate for no flights. You're not in charge of civil aviation. And the next thing is we're waiting for eternity for the company to finalize the arrangement. How can you love us and every single attempt we make to develop this place, it is your job to stymie it? How can you love us? You love us, and every time one of those contractors from bad agreements that you make as P&M win a case in court, you're celebrating as though it's a win for you. When is you set up those bad arrangements? My THA never had an agreement with Nasvik. My THA never signed agreements with these contractors that were bad. You did it. And you did it in the dead of night, trying to win a THA elections, handing out contracts without proper contracts, without any scope of work, doing a pack of madness. And I want to tell you tonight that we also drag into court the former secretary for the division, the former administrator for the division, because we're going after every single person who have indebted the people of Tobago. Every one of them. None shall escape. Because it can't be that you put the THA in $1 billion debt. $1 billion debt. And then every Monday morning you're jumping up because you know school war clock. Buy the clock and carry it for the school. You know how much clocks I buy and put in school? You know how much chairs I buy and put in school? Your salary is the same as mine. Buy the clock if you want and put it in the school. I buy a fan, I buy an AC, because I live in a society where I say if I am blessed to be chief secretary, then parts of my salary belongs to you too. So it ain't stopping me from giving. And I'm saying to you, Tobago, you have to watch who like you. Watch who for you. Watch who for you. Don't let it come and go all in on you. Young women, you know when you have some worthless men going all in on you, 9 months later you have repercussions you don't want. Don't give birth to no bastard because you allow them red people to go all in on you. Get rid of them, put them out of your place, put them out of your yard. Vote sensibly. You don't want to live with that consequence for the rest of your life by making a bad decision today. And I'm saying to you, even as they bring the foodstuff by your door, welcome the foodstuff. Pray over it before you eat it. Sprinkle the olive oil over it and talk to God. Bless it, eat it, and on April 28th, we're going and vote them out same way. Same way. Because this election is not an election for flour and peas. This is an election about how we are going to prosper for the next 5 years and how we are going to turn around the economy. And on top of that, we are facing a global situation with the decisions Trump is making that we may end up in a pickle. We may end up having to find strategies to go around tariffs, strategies to trade with other countries and neighbors, strategies to grow our economy, even as the global economy is in a tailspin. We need sensible leaders there in our parliament who will stand up for Tobago and who will not forget us. It is always easy, Tobago, for us to forget that this country has often forgotten Tobago. We are among the smallest. And so oftentimes we are ignored. We are forgotten. But this election, they know you now. They know your name now. They know where you live now. They know your street now. They know your schools now. They know you need clock now. They know you need hamper now. They know that your athletes need access to Dwight York Stadium now. All of a sudden, they now know you and what you need. I assure you that Joel Notsi Samson knows what you need every single day of the year and will fight for what you need every single day of the year and not just at election time. I assure you that David Thomas, he knows what you need. And he has been there with you when he was not elected anywhere, when he was a candidate anywhere. It did not stop him from standing with you. Vote for the people who love you the most. This is not a time to vote for shiny objects. Vote for who love you the most. Because this is a vote for 5 years. This is a vote that requires that all of us galvanize our communities on Monday morning. We have just a few days, and I am looking for some faithful warriors in Coteaux, Golden Lane, Annosville, Bethesda, Plymouth, Blackrock, and elsewhere. I'm looking for the people who will take up their cars and pick Granny up, pick Auntie up, pick Nene up, and go to the polling station. I'm looking for the people who will hold the hands of first-time voters and walk them to the polls and say, do not be afraid. There is an anchor lodged somewhere in a black box, second to last on the list. Just stamp your X next to it. I'm looking for some people who will cook some food and give to the people who will work all day. I'm looking for some people who will sit beneath a tent and marshal the troops and get everybody to the polling station. I'm looking for people who will sit inside the polling station and watch them with the 2 eyes open, because we know they love to thief, but they will not get a chance to thief this one, and ensure that we bring home the victory for the people of Tobago. I'm telling you, Tobagonians, that this election is ours. I'm telling you that this is ours to win. Don't give it away. Don't be fooled. Don't be tricked. Don't be lied to. Don't go on the politics of commerce. This is not about individuals. This is not about who fat and who thin, and who is beauty and who is beast. I am showing the story of Beauty and the Beast, that the beast was needed to save the life of that which was considered to be beautiful. So the beast is utilitarian and useful. And so tomorrow we're calling on you to rescue Tobago East from Ayana. Joel, we're calling on you to rescue Tobago West from Shamfa. We're calling on you because our paradise cannot be lost. And we must be considered and remembered in the Red House. The only red thing we are concerned about now is who we send to the Red House. And come election day, we are certain about who we will send. We have but a few engagements left. On Saturday, we have a large meeting in Roxborough, where we will all converge on Roxborough. We go to Roxborough on Saturday evening, and at 6:30 p.m., we have our meeting going at Roxborough. And we are going to go over with you in Roxborough all of the ideas and all of the things we have spoken about across all of these meetings. On Sunday, in a show of force, we are going to assemble by the Shaw Park Complex and Food Hub area, because the posse will be so big, the food hub ain't gonna be large enough to hold us. Shaw Park Complex has 400 additional parking spaces there. We are going to park early. You will get all the details by Saturday. We will park early, and in a very orderly manner, we will travel around the island. I want to say to you, we want no fights. We want no altercations. We will not lock their necks back. We will mind our business, and we will talk to Tobagonians, and we will celebrate the blue wave that is about to come on Monday morning. We will end our motorcade at an appropriate time. We will go home and rest. Our workers who have to work in the polling station all day, my advice to you is stay home and sleep on Sunday and get your rest, because we need you. Well, make sure you eat well, and make sure when you, as you reach back home from motorcade, that you go to your bed and sleep. Monday morning, we get to the polls before 6 o'clock, because our agents must witness the opening of the box, the ballot box, and witness the process witness what is happening there. And from 6 p.m., we begin to take all of the voters into the polling station. By midday, I want all of you to done vote. By midday, we must done call the election. By midday, we must have so much votes that PNM must just give up. By midday, so much of our elections should have done vote already that they'd have no way of making a comeback. By midday, it should be sealed, signed, and delivered in the name of Jesus. By midday. And so we are going to go to the polls early on Monday the 28th. We have business to do. And we are going to ensure that we win this election. Not for yourself, but for your children and children's children, and for the future of this beautiful island called Tobago. I thank you. I'm looking forward to seeing you on Saturday night when we have our last and largest meeting on Saturday night. I caution you that big meetings don't win election. Votes does win election. So come out and vote, and we vote resoundingly for the Tobago People's Party. I thank you very much, Coteaux, Golden Lane, Annesville, Bethesda, for housing us. And we pray God that He will keep you safe until election day and beyond. Thank you and God's richest blessings.
We voting blue.
Thank you, political leader. Brothers and sisters, tomorrow, Friday, we wearing blue. At noon, we at Sandy River near to the Martins Grocery. And at 4:30 p.m., we are gathering on the Esplanade. Midday, Mason Hall, 4:30 p.m., we gather on the Esplanade. Be safe, get home safely, have a good night. The journey continues until the last vote is counted. Thanks to Coteaux Golden Lane for having us tonight. Get home safely, everyone. God bless.
We voting blue. We voting blue. We voting blue. We voting cause we voting. TPP is all time. Tobago we outside and we voting the blue side. We voting from gun